Good morning, dears, and welcome to uh, Super Coaching for UPSC by Testbook. And I am Pradeep, your economy mentor, and today we meet here to discuss one of the very important topic of Indian economy, that is agreement on agriculture. And this is very important topic. So that's why I will request you people to have the concept clarity. The thing is that the pupils do not have the concept clarity regarding this. So that's why that we are going to discuss this topic. So and this is very important, be the case of prelims or be the case of mains. That means from the prelims as well as mains point of view, it is very important. So let me tell you that in what manner we are going to proceed with this lecture. First of all, that I will discuss that what is the meaning of agreement on agriculture. Then we will discuss the pillars of agreement on agriculture, that is the pillars can be, there can be market access, other can be the domestic export subsidy, and other can be domestic support. And after that we will discuss all these major pillars, all the pillars of agreement on agriculture in detail. So let's start our session. So first let me tell you that what is the meaning of and what is the purpose of. So as I said that that means today before we will discuss that WTO. WTO means WTO means World Trade Organization. So that means that we discussed that in 1st January 1995 that WTO came into effect, and the purpose of WTO was or is to have the that free flow of trade. Okay, that the main objective of WTO is to have the free flow of trade among the different countries of world. Okay, so that means that basic objective of WTO is to ensure the free flow of trade among the countries, so that all the countries of the world can be benefited from the trade. Okay, so this is the basic objective of WTO, and for that thing only, that means there should be free flow of trade in regard to agriculture. That means there was negotiation in Uruguay round, and in Uruguay round there was negotiation for the trade in agriculture. So that's why this agreement was signed, that in the after the Uruguay round agreement was signed, that is known as agreement on agriculture. Okay, so that means agreement on agriculture was negotiated during the Uruguay round. Okay, 1986 to 1994. Okay, so this is nothing but agreement to the reforms of agriculture sector and address the subsidies of high trade barriers and distort agriculture trade. Okay, it came into effect, the agreement on agriculture came into effect from 1st January 1995. So let me tell you that that how it works, and what I want to say. Suppose, as I said, that the WTO, the basic purpose of WTO is to have the free flow of trade. Be very clear, free flow of trade among the countries. This is the objective. And for the free flow, that what should be there, that in order to have the free flow, there should be three things. Okay, suppose how the free flow can be obstructed. Let me discuss that how this free flow of trade can be restricted. This is, suppose this is domestic territory. This is domestic territory, and this free flow of trade can be restricted. That means suppose that in USA, suppose the input cost, that means for the production, agriculture production, that suppose in the USA that cost of certain product, this free flow can, let me tell you that this free flow can be restricted either to have the restriction on import, or to give undue advantages to the export, or to give the domestic support. Be very clear. Let me tell you domestic support. What I want to say, listen me and listen me very carefully. Listen me very carefully, that this free flow of trade can be obstructed either three ways. It can be obstructed either three ways. That means by having the restriction on the import, that means you are going to restrict the import if import is cheaper in the other country. That means domestic country is going to restrict the import if the imported commodity is cheaper in the other country. So that means this free flow is going to be restricted when a country is going to import, or the producer of a domestic country is going to import, when they are going to have the cheaper rate in the other markets, in the other world market. So that means, and then that free flow is going to be restricted when the domestic country is going to impose the trade barriers or non-trade barriers on the imports. Okay, so that means the free flow is going to be restricted. Other free flow can be restricted. That means that the domestic country is giving the undue advantages to their exporter. That means they are giving undue advantages to their exporters. That may be in the form of subsidies. Okay, that means they are giving subsidy to their exporter. Exporter means that that means suppose India. Suppose India is giving undue advantages to their exporter, meaning that means India is going to give subsidy to their exporter. That subsidy may be in the form of that, it may be in three forms. It may be in three forms. Either that Indian government is going to give the cash benefits to their exporter, and they are going to put the condition that if you are going to that means export that much amount, we are going to give you this much amount of subsidy. Okay, so this is one thing. Other thing can be that means in order to produce, the exporter need to have the that means money. So that means the government may have the provision that the exporter may get the subsidized that means get the loans at subsidized rate. Okay, third that undue advantage may be that the domestic government may give the tax subsidy, meaning they may say that if you are going to export 30% or 40%, you are entitled to get that means suppose 14% rebate in your taxes, 14% rebate in your taxes. That is nothing but undue advantage. Okay, so that means this may be and other can be domestic support. Domestic support means they are going to give the support to their that means they are going to give the support in subsidy for the production in the form of subsidy. So let me tell you that when the basic purpose of WTO was or is to have the free flow of trade, and this free flow of trade can be obstructed either three way: by restricting the import from other country, or by giving undue advantages to their exporter, and by giving the domestic support means giving the subsidy to the producer. In these three ways, that free flow of trade can be restricted. So that's why this pillars of agreement, when we talk about the pillars of agriculture agreement, they can be categorized under three categories. Okay, that means there should be market access, equal market access. Okay, there should not be discriminatory treatment. That means export subsidy, there should not be export subsidy. We will discuss, don't worry. Okay, and other thing can be there should be the domestic support. Okay, domestic support, that means the domestic support may be in the form of subsidy. Okay, in the form of subsidy. So what it does mean, we will discuss all these in detail. Okay, so let me tell you that how and what is the meaning of market access. Okay, so market access means that you are going to that means if someone is going to that means I just want to say, suppose what is the meaning, that means it is undue, okay, for imports. Okay, that means the domestic country is going to obstruct the imports. How they can obstruct the imports? They can obstruct the import by levying tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers. This is barrier. Tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers. Okay, I am going to repeat once again that what is the meaning of market access. The objective of WTO is to have the equal market access to all the countries. So we are going to discuss that for having the equal market access to all countries, what should be the provisions. Okay, so that means first we have to understand that how this equal access can be denied. Okay, equal access can be denied by the countries if they are going to levy or they are going to restrict the import. They are going to restrict the import from other countries if the imported commodity is cheaper in other countries. Okay, in order to protect their domestic industries, that country can levy the import duty, that is tariff barriers. Okay, so that means equal access can be denied, okay, by restricting the import, and import can be restricted through two ways. One is through levying the tariff barriers and through the non-tariff barriers. Through the tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers. Tariff barriers means, suppose that means we are going to levy the import tax in the form of custom duty. So custom duty, okay, by levying, suppose the prices of that means seed of wheat, that means suppose the prices of seed of wheat in USA, we are taking hypothetical situation, and India. Okay, that means prices of seed in USA is that suppose it is 10 rupees, whereas it is 12 rupees. Okay, so that means from where farmer is going to purchase the seeds, okay, from the USA market. So what is government of India is going to do? They are going to have the equal access. Okay, they are going to make these prices equal by levying 2 rupees custom duty, so that the trade is not going to take place. But this is not the purpose of USA. Okay, so the purpose of USA is purpose of WTA, not USA. Purpose of WTO is to that promote the free flow of trade. In order to that means the WTO will work to have the equal access to the market, and for that means WTO will make the provision that India should not levy any import duty, so that the USA can have the access to the Indian market. This is the meaning. So that means equal access can be denied on the basis of that means on the imports, and imports can be restricted through the trade barriers and non-trade barriers. Trade barriers means imposing the taxes, whereas non-trade barriers means that means sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Non-trade barriers means like that means USA was that means denying the imports from India on the basis of that they are that means suppose that means sometime before carpet, the products that carpet that export from India, to USA was denied by USA on the basis of that on the production of this carpet, that women labor and child labor is being used. Okay, for the production of this carpet, which is being exported to US, that in that production that women labor force and child labor force is being used. That's why that is against the, that means it should not be women labor, and that's why it is cheap. Okay, so they denied. Okay, this is known as phytosanitary measure. Phytosanitary measure, and that means that is known as non-tariff barriers. That means tariff barriers means imposing the taxes. Okay, that may be custom duty. Non-tariff barriers means that may be on the sanitary basis, and that may be on the phytosanitary measure. Sanitary measures means like Alfonso. Okay, that means export of Alfonso mango was denied by European Union country on the basis of that they do not match our hygiene quality. Okay, so that is nothing but sanitary measure, that is nothing but non-tariff barriers. Okay, so that means the import or export from a particular country can be denied on the basis of trade barriers and non-trade barriers, and that trade barriers are nothing but that may be custom duty, that may be duties. Okay, that means taxes are going to be levied on the import, whereas non-trade barriers, that may be sanitary and phytosanitary measures. Okay, so this is the meaning. Okay, so that means equal access can be denied by levying taxes and non-tax barriers on the imports. So that means in order to have the first clause, let me tell you that in order to make the market access, equal market access, in order to have the equal market access, that means this is the provision under the WTO that the countries will reduce the tariff barriers. Countries will reduce the tariff barriers. Okay. Other thing, they will reduce the non-tariff barriers as well. Non-tariff barriers as well. And for that they will do. That means in order to have the equal access, the countries will, for that thing, they will do the tariffication. That is known as tariffication. Other thing is they will do the reduction in tariff. Reduction in tariff. Reduction in tariff. Reduction in tariff. Okay. So that means in order to have the market access, what the country will do? They will do the tariffication and they will do the reduction in tariff rates. Okay. And for that, what is the meaning of tariffication? That means they will convert the non-tariff barriers into tariff barriers. Okay. Because the tariff barriers at least, okay, non-tariff barriers means quota, import quota earlier. This import quota is also in the form of non-tariff barriers only. Non-tariff barriers. What is the meaning of import quota? That means country is going to fix that from particular country or from around the world 80 quintal. Suppose that India is putting or USA is putting that 80 quintal that wheat can be imported only. Okay, this is nothing but import quota. That means they can import only 80 quintal. Beyond that, there cannot be any import. Okay, that is known as import quota. That is nothing but non-tariff barriers. Non-tariff barriers. Okay, so that means this should be converted into tariff barriers. Okay, that means there can be provision that there can be import, but if it is going to be more than 80 quintal, if it is going to be more than 80 quintal, it is going to be, that means government is going to levy the taxes. Government is going to levy the taxes. That is nothing but tariffication. That is nothing but tariffication. Okay. So that the thing is that just to decrease the discretionary power of the domestic country. Okay. First thing, there should be tariffication. Tariffication means converting non-tariff barriers into tariff barriers. Then there should be tariff reduction. Then there should be free flow of trade. Free flow of trade. This is the scenario, free flow of trade. This should be the scenario. Okay. I just want to say that in order to have the equal market access, the WTO made the provision that there should be tariffication and reduction in tariff. Tariffication means there is provision that each and every country will convert their non-tariff barriers into tariff barriers, and they will abolish the import quotas elsewhere. Okay, and other is reduction in tariff. And for that, okay, for that there is provision that under this market access only there is provision that developed country, as I said, that the WTO came into effect from 1st January. WTO come into effect from 1st January 1995. Okay, so there was provision for developed country. We will discuss for developed country. What is the provision and what is the provision for developing countries? That reduction. Second provision was under the equal market access. Second objective was reduction in tariff. Reduction in tariff means reduction in tariff. Taxes. Okay, so for developed countries the provision was they have to reduce the taxes up to 36%. Up to 36%. That means they have to reduce their tax rate to 36% in next 6 years. 6 years. That means they have to reduce their tax rate to 36%. Suppose it is 50%, they have to reduce to 14% in next 6 years. That means it came into effect from 1st January 1995. So that means up to 1st January 2001, they have to reduce it to the 14% if the taxes are 50%. Okay, this is the meaning of this is for the developed country. Okay, and this is the meaning of reduction in taxes. This is the meaning of reduction in taxes. Second was that for what was the provision for developing country? The provision for developing countries was that they have to reduce their tax rates to 24% in next 10 years. 10 years. Okay, that means up to 1st January 2005 they had to reduce their taxes up to that means to 24%. Like suppose there is the taxes are 58% or 60%, so they have to reduce 24%, means what is going to be the net? It is going to be 36%, and that is up to 1st January 1995. Okay, so let me summarize that for the market access, as I said that the objective, okay, the objective of WTO is to ensure the free flow of trade. Okay, and the free flow of trade can be obstructed through 3 ways. Okay, that means by restricting the imports, or by giving the that means undue advantages to their exporter, and third thing is by giving the domestic support, that in the form of subsidies to the producer. There can be 3 ways through which there can be, that means the free flow of trade can be obstructed. For that, just to ensure that there should not be any restriction on the free flow of trade, the WTO made the provision that is known as Agreement of Agriculture. And for the Agreement of Agriculture, there are 3 pillars. Agreement for agriculture, there are 3 pillars. There are 3 pillars for agreement on agriculture. That means there should be equal market access, there should be export subsidy should be within limit, we will discuss what it is, and there should be domestic support. Okay, that what should be the domestic support limit. Okay, so that means there first of all is equal market access. Okay, equal market access means there should not be artificial restriction on the imports. Okay, so that means all the countries have the equal access to their market, all the other countries' market. This is the meaning. Okay, and for that, how the import is being restricted? Import, that means the equal access is denied through 2 ways. Okay, that may be through the levying the tariff barriers, means by levying the taxes. That means like we are levying custom duty on imports. Okay, this custom duty is nothing but tariff barriers. Okay, custom duty is nothing but tariff barrier. Okay, so this is, that means by levying a tariff barriers, that is by levying the taxes. Second can be by levying non-tariff barriers. Non-tariff barriers means that tax is not levied, but they are going to come with some policies and programs. Policies, especially policies. Okay, that policies may be that of on the basis of sanitary measures or on the basis of sanitary measures, and that may be import quota as well. Okay, import quota as well. Import quota, fixing the import quota is also a non-tariff barrier. Okay, so what is going to be? So that means there is need to reduce this tariff barriers as well as non-tariff barriers. So non-tariff barrier may be in the form of fixing the import quota. Non-tariff barrier may be the on the basis of sanitary measures and phytosanitary measure. Sanitary measures, I want to refer that suppose that means sometime before Alfonso mango, the export of Alfonso mango from India was restricted by European or denied by that means European Union country, especially UK, on the basis of that this does not match our hygiene condition. That means the quality of mango do not match to our hygiene condition. Okay, so that means this is nothing but artificial. Okay, that restriction, that is discretionary restriction. Okay, and that is not going to have the equal access, that Indian companies are not going to have the access to the European market, but the European companies are going to have the access to Indian market. That is undue favor. Okay, so that has to be reduced. So that's why this is nothing but sanitary measure. Phytosanitary measures, like that means the carpet, the export of carpets from India was restricted by USA. That on the basis of that in the production of these carpets, women labor and the child labor is being used, okay, which should not be. That is against our principles, okay, that is against our principles, since the that means their wages for women and children is less, that's why the production cost is less, that's why your product is competitive. So that means they restricted our export, okay, they denied our export, USA denied, and that is nothing on the basis of phytosanitary, on the basis of that empowerment of women, okay. So that is nothing but that discretionary power is to be given by the USA. So that means these measures should be reduced, then only there can be the free flow of trade. And for that that WTO came with the that means mandate, or came with the conditions that in order to have equal market access, in order to have equal market access to all the countries, they will work for three things, tariffication. That means, what is the meaning, we will discuss. They will do the efforts for the tariff reduction, and they will do the work for trade facilitation in agriculture, okay. For that, in order to ensure the equal access or equal market access to all the countries, the WTO made the provision that there should be tariffication, there should be reduction in tariffs, and there should be that trade facilitation in agriculture, okay. And what it is, now we are going to discuss that, okay. So what is the meaning of tariffication? Tariffication means converting that non-tariff barriers into tariff barriers, okay, non-tariff barriers into tariff barriers. What is the meaning of this? That means, because this non-tariff barriers is giving the discretionary power to the concerned country to restrict the import from other country, okay. So that there is no criteria, that is their discretionary power, okay. So that there is need to reduce that discretionary power, okay. That's why that first of all, non-tariff barriers should be converted into tariff barrier, so that there should be at least idea that tariff barrier can be controlled, but non-tariff barrier cannot be controlled, okay, because it is that their discretionary power, okay. So that means this should be converted into tariff barriers or tariffication, meaning like they are going to fix the import quota, okay. So that means the WTO said that there should not be import quota, rather there can be that means there can be tariff rate quota. Tariff rate quota means up to certain extent, if import is up to 80 kg, if import is up to 80 kg, the tariff rate may be 5%. But if import is going to be more than 80 kg, the tariff rate may be 10%. Okay, so that is nothing but earlier they were saying that there should not be any that means import more than 80%, 80 kg. 80 kg, okay. Now they are saying that up to 80 kg tariff should be 5%, and beyond 80 kg it should be 10%. So that means this is going to reduce their discretionary power, this is going to reduce their, okay. So that is nothing but tariffication. So that there is a systematic that means a movement, that means first the non-tariff barriers should be reduced or eliminated, then there should be reduction in tariff, then there should be free flow, okay. That is the objective of WTO, okay. So this is very clear, tariffication is very clear. Now under the tariff reduction, other provision was tariff reduction. So what is the under the tariff reduction, what measures were taken? And for that WTO fixed the condition that under the reduction in tariff, WTO fixed the conditions, and they fixed the condition for developed country, and they fixed the condition for underdeveloped country or developing country, okay. They fixed that condition for developed countries, and they fixed the condition for developing country. And what condition they fixed, okay. Now we are going to focus on what condition they fixed, okay. That means under the reduction in tariff, they made provision for developed country. For developed country, they said that you have to reduce your tariff up to that to 36%, not up to, rather 36% in next 6 years. Okay? That means suppose the developed countries are levying the taxes at the rate of 50%. So they have to reduce the taxes to 14% in next 6 years. This was the provision, reduction in, and they fixed this limit for developing countries as well. for developing countries as well. And what they fixed for developing country, they said that you have to reduce your tariff rate to 24% in next 10 years. In next 10 years. Okay, that means they have to reduce. Suppose there is the tax is 50% only. Okay, so that means they have to reduce 24. That means they have to make it 26% in next 10 years. That is up to 1st January 2005. Okay, and this was for 6 years. That was up to 1st January 2001, because WTO came into effect from 1st January 1995. Okay, so since then they came into effect, they made the provision that the developed country has to reduce their tariff by 36% in next 6 years, and they have to reduce, the developing country has to reduce their tariff by 24% in next 10 years. Okay, this is the meaning of, so that all the countries can have the access to each other market, can have the access to each other market. That was the purpose. Other was trade facilitation agreement. Trade facilitation agreement, or other was trade facilitation in agriculture. The meaning is that was signed in Bali conference. Okay, Bali ministerial conference in 2013. So this meaning was that means that it was for the developing country, that developing country will reduce their bureaucratic delay in the imports. Okay, so and we allow this, that means we signed it in 2013. Okay, so in order to have the equal access, the WTO made 3 provisions. One is tariffication, other is reduction in tariff, other is trade facilitation in agriculture, meaning just to reduce the bureaucratic delay in the imports. Okay, so this is about the market access. Now we are going to discuss the export. Okay, so export subsidy. Other can be restriction in free flow can be export subsidy. Okay, other restriction in the free flow of market can be export subsidy. What is the meaning of this? Please try to understand. Let me tell you that what is the meaning of it. Okay, that means you are going to, that the country, in order to increase their export, the domestic country is going to give the undue advantages to their exporter, and that undue advantage may be in the form of giving them cash subsidy. Okay, suppose we can give them the cash. Okay, for in order to increase the exports. Not only this, we can give them that subsidized loan in order to increase, because for the production there is need to have the loans. So they may say that we will give you the 4% subsidy in the interest rate. They make the provision through the banking system, and they put the conditions that you have to export that much amount. Okay, if you want to avail this. Okay, so this is nothing but export subsidy. Okay, other can be, what can be the other? Other can be that they may give the tax benefit. Tax benefit means that they may say that if you are going to make 100 quintal of exports. Okay, suppose if you that means pay the taxes at the rate of 40%. Okay, then in that condition, if you make it 200 quintal of export, you have to pay the taxes at 14%. Okay, so that means, or they can say that just make the exports and we will, you are entitled to get the tax subsidy. Okay, of 14%. So this is nothing but export subsidy. And through the export subsidy also, that producer or the exporter may get the undue advantage. Okay, and that is nothing but trade distorting. That is nothing but trade distorting measures. Okay, now we are going to proceed further, and we are going to discuss the other. Okay, so that may be in the form of cash transfers. We discuss that may be disposal below the market price. Okay, that may be marketing subsidy. We discussed it. Okay, so that is giving the subsidies to their exporter. Now this is most important, that is nothing but domestic domestic support. Okay, be very clear that this is nothing but domestic support. What is the meaning of domestic support? That giving the subsidies to their producer. Okay, and let me clear dears, that what is the meaning of domestic support. Domestic support refers to giving the support to their domestic industries in the form of subsidies. By providing them subsidies, you are going to help them out, and the subsidy is going to distort the trade. Okay, so as per the provisions of WTO, let me clear it. As per the provision of WTO, this domestic support should be within the limit. Okay, that means domestic support means, in general terms, you can say domestic support is nothing but subsidies. So meaning is that domestic support means the subsidy should be within its limit. Okay, subsidy given by the countries, domestic countries, should be within limit, should be within limit. Okay, this is the meaning of. Okay, because if it is going to be beyond the limit, it is going to distort the international trade, and that basic purpose of WTO is going to be defeated. Basic purpose of WTO is going to be defeated. That's why that these domestic support or subsidy should be within its limit. Okay, and for that that means, although I am using the word subsidy for you people's understanding or common man understanding, but when you are writing your answer, you should have not to use this word subsidy. Okay, when you are talking about the domestic support, you have to talk about that as per the WTO agreements, WTO provisions on agreement on agriculture, they use a word that is known as aggregate measurement of support. They use the word aggregate measurement of support. The WTO used the, although it is nothing but subsidies only. Okay, for the common man it is subsidy only. That means subsidy should be within its limit. Okay, that is the meaning of when you want to. Okay, as per the provisions of. Okay, because this subsidy may be trade distorting and non-trade distorting. We will discuss. Don't worry. Okay, but rather than using the word subsidy when you are writing your answer, you should have to use the word that has been used by WTO, that is nothing but aggregate measurement of support. Okay, and that aggregate measurement of support is known as AMS. Okay, so what is the meaning of, as per the WTO provision? As per the WTO provision, the total aggregate measurement of support should be de minimis. De minimis. What it means? In order to have the free flow of trade, among the world community, there should be that domestic support or the aggregate measures of support should be de minimis. De minimis means within limit. Okay, so I am going to repeat once again that as per the provisions of WTO on the agreement on agriculture, the total aggregate measures of support should be de minimis, meaning the total aggregate measures of support should be within its limit, and for that they put the limits. Okay, and they put the limits that total subsidy or total aggregate measures of support may be this much only. Maybe this much only, they put the limit. Okay, and they put the limit in the form of what that is. First let me tell you that when we talk about, please, when we talk about the subsidies, try to understand, when we talk about subsidy or aggregate measures, aggregate measures of support, they may be two types. Please, when we talk about the subsidies or aggregate measures of support, they can be of two types. That may be trade distorting. We will discuss, don't worry, what is going to be trade distorting and what is going to be non-trade distorting. Other can be non-trade distorting. Okay, when we talk about the AMS or subsidies, that can be two types. Other one is that is going to distort the international trade, that is going to affect the if the subsidy is going to be given, that is going to affect the international trade. Other can be non-trade distorting, that means they are not going to distort the trade. The subsidies or aggregate measures which were not distorting the trade, they were known as blue box subsidy. Blue box aggregate measures of support. Okay, that non-trade distorting, sorry, not trade, this is non-trade. I am really sorry, dears, that non-trade distorting subsidies are known as green box subsidies. Green box subsidies. Okay, and trade distorting subsidies are known as amber box. They were amber box and blue box. I am going to repeat once again that when we are talking about the domestic support, what does it means? Okay, domestic support means the subsidies given by the domestic the government of domestic countries. Okay, so that means as per the WTO norms on agriculture on agreement, that they use the word aggregate measures of support rather than subsidy. So they may, according to that provision, that total aggregate measures of support should be de minimis. De minimis means they should be within its limit. Okay, within its limit. For that they fix the limit. Okay, and they but before that there is need to understand that when we are going to put the limit, on what type of subsidy we need to put the limit, because there can be two type of subsidies. One is going to be the subsidy which is going to distort the trade, international trade. There can be other type of subsidies which are not going to distort the trade. Don't worry, we will discuss. Okay, so that means that there is no need to put the restrictions or put the de minimis limit on non-trade distorting subsidies. That means on those subsidies which are not distorting the trade. So those subsidy, that means the domestic government may provide as much subsidy as they want to, because they are not distorting the trade. Okay, like if the government is going to give the subsidy for the market research to the farmer, if the government is going to give the subsidy for the flood control, okay, that means going to make the expenditure for the flood control. If it is going to give the that means going to make the expenditure, going to give the subsidy for the environment, okay, that is nothing but non-distorting, because they are decoupled with the production. They are decoupled with the production. They are not going to distort the trade. That's why those, that means there was provision that it has to not be reduced and there is no limit. And that's why these subsidies, non-trade distorting subsidy, were put together but known as green box subsidy. But there can be other type of subsidy which is going to distort the trade. They are going to distort the trade. That means they should be within limit. Okay, and those subsidies which are going to restrict the trade, they can be known as amber box subsidy. They are known as amber box subsidy. Okay, and the limit is being put on those amber box subsidy. Okay, and the other is blue box subsidy. That blue box subsidy is nothing but subsidy. It is a type of amber box subsidy only, but with a condition. Don't worry, we will discuss. Okay, don't worry, we will discuss. what is the meaning, and we will understood it with the example as well. So the thing is, now let me tell you that what was the limit. Okay, what was the limit? That means this subsidy can be two types. One is trade distorting, other is non-trade. So non-trade distorting, there was no limit and they have not to be reduced. Okay, so that means that they were non-distorting, trade distorting, and there was no need to put any limit. Okay, and there were no need to reduce any amount. Okay, there is amber box subsidy. Okay, so what is amber box subsidy? Those subsidy which is trade distorting subsidies, which is coupled with the production. Okay, that means those subsidies which are going to affect either the production or the prices of production. Okay, so amber box subsidies are those subsidies which are either they are coupled with the production. So they affect the production. If there is more production, then that extra amount is going to be exported. So that means, and it is because of the subsidy. Production has increased because of the subsidy given by the government. So that means that is giving the undue advantages. Okay, so that means that amber box subsidies are those subsidies which distort the trade and which are coupled with production, like fertilizer subsidy, like electricity subsidy, like irrigation subsidies, like procurement price, like MSP. Okay, that means the government is going to announce the MSP, then only that it is going to give the confidence to the producer, that is farmer, to produce whatever amount they want to, because government is there, that is provision that whatever amount you want to produce, we are here to procure it at this much price. If the market price is less than MSP, the government is legally bounded to purchase all amounts of all quantity of the farmer produce at the minimum support price. So that means the announcing the minimum support price is nothing but trade distorting subsidy, because it is going to give the confidence to the farmer that let's do more and more production, because if the price, when the production is more, prices are going to be down because supply is more. But the government is there now, which is announcing that we are going here too, and government is legally bounded under the MSP. Okay, and this is nothing but amber box subsidy. It comes under the amber box subsidy, irrigation subsidy, fertilizer subsidy, seed subsidy. That government is giving the seed subsidy, so that means it is going to reduce the production cost of the agriculture. That is, it is going to increase the production, going to reduce, okay, the prices, because the cost of production is going to be reduced. Okay, so that type of subsidies which is going to be coupled with the production, because it either affects the production or affect the prices of production, and they are trade distorting subsidy. They are known as amber box subsidies. They are amber box subsidy. So let me tell that what is blue box subsidy. That they are so let me tell you that this was when we are talking about the provisions of domestic support or agreement of agriculture, that measures AMS, Okay, total aggregate measures of support is going to be concerned with amber box subsidy. It is not going to be with blue box subsidy, and it is not going to be with the green box subsidy. So that means aggregate measures of support, the provision is applicable for the amber box subsidy. Okay, what is blue box subsidy? Let me tell you that blue box subsidy is a type of, first let me tell you blue box subsidy, and these are the cause of concern, that is these are the amber box subsidy and blue box subsidies, these are the that means bone of contention between the developed countries and developing countries, and they are discriminatory. Okay, why this is discriminatory and why this is bone of contention, we will discuss. Okay, but let me first explain it. Okay, so what is that means, it is the aggregate measure of support clause is applicable for the amber box subsidy. It is not applicable for green box, and it is not applicable for the blue box. So the developed country, what they are doing, they are converting their amber box subsidy into green box subsidy. And this is not my statement, it is World Bank statement that developed countries has, USA, especially USA, has converted their amber box subsidy into 90% of their amber box subsidy into blue box subsidy. Now they are giving in the form of blue box. Sorry, not blue box, green box, sorry, really sorry, green box. That means in order to, if they were in the amber box, they have to reduce, and they cannot give beyond a certain limit. But they have converted, okay, because of the nature, they have converted 90% of their amber box subsidy into amber box subsidy into green box subsidy. How it, we will discuss, don't worry. Okay, and the thing is, now let me tell you that what is the provision of under the amber box subsidy, what is the provision for AMS? What is the provision for AMS in regard to amber box? That means amber box subsidies are, let me first define what is amber box. Amber box subsidies are those subsidies which is trade distorting, and it is coupled with production level. Because of these subsidies, either the production is increased or the prices of production reduces. So there is need to, as per WTO norms, there is need to reduce or eliminate these subsidies. So what is the provision? We are going to discuss that. As per WTO norms, okay, that means developed country can give their 5% of total production, total production of agriculture prices in 1987-88. First, let me explain what it means, my dears, that under this AMS, amber box, that means it should be within limit, as I said. Okay, so what is going to be that it is allowed, the subsidies are allowed for developed country. It is for developed country if it is 5%, if it is 5% of total production, 5% of the total production prices in the base year of 1987 and 88. Be very clear, that means, and it is 10%. First let me explain, then I will. Okay, it is 10% for developing country, it is 10% for developing country of the total value of production, of agriculture product in year 1987-88. 1987-88. First let me explain that what is the meaning. Okay, that be very clear that in case of developed countries, especially USA, there is corporate farming. That means they are doing the farming at large level. Okay, so they are giving more subsidies. Okay, but in case of India, we are not doing the corporate farming, so we are giving limited subsidy. But they are saying that our subsidies are in the amber box and their subsidy is in green box. So let me explain it, that what is the meaning of it, what is the provision. As per the WTO norms, 5% subsidies are allowed, total 5%. They can give total 5% of the total value of production of agriculture produce. Suppose their total production is, suppose their total production was 100 quintal. Okay, so that 100 quintal is the total production of agriculture produce. Okay, so that means, and their price is, suppose their price is what is going to be, we are taking very hypothetical situation. Suppose their price is agriculture 10 rupees per kg, 10 rupees per kg. Okay, 10 rupees per kg. So what is going to be the total allowed AMS? Total allowed AMS is going to be 100, because it is total production and it is 10. So it is going to be 1000 rupees. It is hypothetical. Okay, suppose 1000 lakh crore. Okay, they can give up to 1000 lakh crore. Okay, so that was the limit for developed countries. And let me, suppose their total production is 100 quintal, so it is allowed for 5% only. Okay, so that means only 20 quintal, or 20 into 10, this is going to be 200 quintal. I am really sorry, 2000 rupees. Okay, 2000 lakh crores. Okay, suppose it is only 2000 lakh, 200, it is not 1000, rather it is only 200, because what I said, the total production is 100 quintal, 100 quintal. Total agriculture production is 100 quintal. So it is going to be allowed only for 5%. And 5% of 100 is going to be, that is how much it is going to be? 5% of 1 upon 20. Okay, 5% is going to be 5 quintal. So 5 quintal, and suppose 10 rupees per quintal is the value. Okay, so what is going to be? It is going to be 10 into 5. So maximum is going to be, really sorry, maximum is going to be 50 lakh crore. Suppose this is the, okay, this is allowed for developed countries. Okay, what is under the AMS measures? What is allowed for developing countries? Developing countries, that is 10%. Okay, although it is 10%, but we have to understand that it is of the base prices of 87, 88. Okay, in that case, their agriculture was very advanced. Their agriculture was very advanced. So there is high production. But our agriculture was not that much advanced. At the same time, in that year, there was too much production. Okay, bumper production in India. That's why prices was very low. Prices was very low. Okay, so that means they, for the developing country, it is 10% of total production. Total production of value of agriculture produce. Okay, so that means 10% of total production. But in case of India, if there was 100 quintal, that means in our case it was only 10 quintal, because our agriculture produce was not that much advanced as it is in USA. Okay, so that means 10 quintal and 10% of 10 quintal, that means 1 quintal. Okay, and the prices were too low because there was bumper crop. There was bumper crop in 80, 87, 89. Sorry, 87, 88. Okay, so the prices was very low. So that means, suppose this is going to be 1 quintal or 1 rupees 1 quintal, and it is going to be 5. Okay, so 5 rupees are, so that means we are allowed to have only 5 lakh crore. Okay, we are allowed to have the subsidy of 5 lakh crore only, whereas the developed countries are allowed to have the that AMS or the amber box subsidy up to 20 lakh crore. This is discriminatory. This is discriminatory because Although that limit is, in case of developing country, it seems to be that they can give 10%, up to 10% of the total value. But we have to understand that the base year is 87, 88. At that time, the agriculture of the developed country was very advanced, whereas in case of India, agriculture production was not that much good. Okay, and it is going to be given on the basis of the value of agriculture production. And top of that, at that year, the base year prices, in the base year, at that base year, there was bumper crop in case of India. Okay, so although there was bumper crop, but we were not as advanced, so the production was not as much as it was in the developed country. Okay, so because of that, prices were low. So that means we understood with an example that that developed country can give the subsidies or amber box subsidy or aggregate measures of support up to, as per our example, 50 lakh crores, whereas the developing countries can only give, in absolute term, if we talk about 5 lakh crores. 5 lakh crores. So beyond that, we cannot give. We cannot give beyond that. Okay, this is provision of WTO. Okay, and that has to be reduced as well. Okay, that's why that USA, and we are running a program that is known as, suppose we are running MSP, minimum support price. Okay, we are giving the minimum support price assurance to the farmers. Okay, so that means under this minimum support price, and this is nothing but, okay, and that means we are running the through this, that means farmers production okay, this farmer production we are purchasing, government is purchasing the farmer produce on the MSP, and when there will be MSP, then only there will be food security, and then only there will be midday meal scheme. I just want to say that we are running food security just to reduce the multidimensional poverty. Not only this, we are also running the midday meal program. Okay, and we are able to run this midday meal program or food security act. We are able to have the food security act, and we are able to run the midday meal only when there is MSP, because it is going to give the assurance, to the farmers that whatever they want to, okay, and under this food security, that wheat is only in 1 rupees per kg. Sorry, wheat is 2 rupees per kg, rice is 3 rupees per kg, and that means that cereals, okay, they are 1 rupees per kg, very cheap. Okay, so because of that, because of this MSP, this is motivating the farmers to produce more. Okay, and because of that, we are running the food security and we are able to run the midday meal. That's why this USA has the reservation that India is violating the provisions of WTO on agreement on agriculture. That's why they took this to the dispute settlement body. Okay, they took this MSP, that provision of MSP, because it is trade distorting. Why it is trade distorting? It is trade distorting because it is coupled with the production. How it is coupled with the production? It is coupled with the production because of it, the production is going to increase, because it is giving the assurance to the farmers to produce whatever amount they want to produce. The government is there to that means purchase the production. Okay, so that means they said that this is nothing but trade distorting. That's why they went to the dispute settlement body. Okay, but that means we said that we are running the food security program and we are running the midday meal. That's why WTO said that it is okay. That means the developing country, if they want to have the food security program and they want to have the that means want to reduce the multidimensional poverty, they can violate the provisions of agreement on agriculture. That is known as peace clause. That is known as peace clause. Okay, which was signed in Bali agreement. Okay, Bali ministerial conference. That is known as peace agreement that was signed in Bali ministerial conference. Okay, so now this is the situation, and we signed the trade facilitation act agreement with the USA, that we allowed that we will make easy imports. Okay, that facility for the USA. That is now the situation when we talk about the agreement on agriculture. This is the situation now when we talk about the agreement on agriculture. So we discussed the peace clause, and this is all about today's session. If there is any doubt, let me know. This is all about today's session. If there is any doubt, let me know. We stop here. Thank you very much, dears. Thanks a lot.